Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Star Trek, the original series, Season 3, Episode 18. It is called The Lights of Zetar. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. I was, cautiously excited based on the title for this one. The Lights of Zetar sounds like such a 50s B movie that I was like, okay, this is either going to be amazing or absolute garbage.
Yeah, I can see why you'd think that.
It ended up in neither of those things. It ended up in a bit more in the middle, but still, that was my thought
Yeah.
process before I went into it. Was The Lights of Zetar was such a silly B movie sci-fi title. But yeah, so the plot of this one is that they're going to, was it the data library or whatever they call it, the memory library.
Yeah, it's just a big library, isn't it?
Memory Alpha, that was the exact name of it. But this is a space station that's just memory. All the different civilizations in the Federation, they all store stuff here. Because it brings up at one point there's very little security because the way they see it is, well, everyone's allowed access to it. So
It's knowledge. Yeah,
yeah,
it's all about sharing. It's basically the galaxy's public library.
yes. Uh, but on the way there, they encounter this mysterious batch of lights. Very old school Star Trek, right? And I'm like, okay, I dig these episodes to a point. And it blinds them all, and they all have different effects. But there's a new crew member, Mira Romaine, who Scotty's taken quite a liking to. Um, I almost appreciate that he was just already in love with her at the start. Like Kirk in his captain's log, just like, yeah, Scotty's fallen in love. Like we're already there. We don't have to do the will they won't they.
That's true. It saves 10 minutes of the episode.
It does. And Scotty's just enamored to the point where he's like, Kirk has to like say his name 3 times before he'll notice that he's been spoken to and everything else.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this happens, and she's affected more than anyone else. She passes out. She makes some weird alien noises. She physically seems fine. McCoy gives her the once over. But this weird light storm that attacked them is going to Memory Alpha. So they're in pursuit, and they get to Memory Alpha, and it ends up that the thing has killed everyone on a Memory Alpha, and they have to figure out. And then also alongside this, Romaine Mira, she starts having visions of the future, and then they happen pretty soon after, including the deaths on Memory Alpha. So then they start looking into her a little bit more and try and figure it out, and it kind of goes from there. But that's the premise of the episode. So, Cara, did you enjoy The Lights of Zetar?
I think it's all right. I think I'm slightly more positive on it than the last few. I
That's fair.
think it's a bit more focused. It doesn't feel like overstuffed. It doesn't feel like random. I think the solution doesn't quite make sense to me, just physically speaking. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. Uh,
But so it's okay.
yeah, it's all right. I feel like it does kind of feel a little bit like let's just do like a basic episode of Star Trek. Let's not play around with it too much. Just do a basic episode and do it relatively well. And I think it succeeds at that. It's a fairly entertaining mystery thing in the space. It's causing weird problems. There's some fun humor. Like Kirk's, like you can tell he's getting annoyed that Scotty's like not paying attention because he's too busy being in love. But there's like the way he says his name again. There's a tinge
Yeah.
of fun about it. And then that continues throughout the episode. And Scotty not being in engineering, he's in the med bay, looking after. And he calls Scotty. He doesn't answer at first through the comms, and then he responds. He's like, "Oh, I'm here, Captain." He's like, "Where are you, Scotty?" He's like, "I'm in med bay." "Why? Are you okay?" Like, "Oh, I'm fine. I was just checking on the lass. That's all I was doing." It's
It's
like,
like, well, is the doctor in engineering?
"Is she all right?" "Oh, she's good. Just fine, Cap. She's beautiful, Captain." Like, thanks for your medical opinion. That's your diagnosis. Good, very good. Um, so no, all that was kind of fun. I mean,
Well,
I suppose I could argue and say it feels almost a little bit out of character that Scotty is ignoring his duties this because he's typically so in love with his ship. He's so
yeah.
that's his baby.
I think that's supposed to be the point. It's like, look how much he's into her that
Yeah.
he's forgetting all that stuff. But it does feel very sudden and just, oh, okay, we're doing that
Well,
now.
I guess that's the downside of just like telling us in the opening scene that he's fallen in love with this woman is that we don't really know who she is yet. We don't know what connection
Yeah.
they have, the chemistry they have. None of it's really there yet. Um, I mean, it never really gets there either. It's just the episode
Oh,
plays
it's
out.
fine, isn't it?
Yeah, it's whatever.
It's one of those elements that if you think about it too hard, it falls apart, but
hmm
it's enjoyable enough to watch.
Yes, yeah, I think that's fair. Uh, but no, this is fun. Um, yeah, the actual like the plot, I think it's a touch too predictable, or maybe not predictable, but I had this feeling that I was always two steps ahead of the crew.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean.
Like as soon as like she knocked out and like she started making the noises, I'm like, okay, they've bonded to her. They're connected to her now. And then
Yeah,
it took them another like 25 minutes of the episode before they got to that same point. There's a scene where they're in the briefing room and they're like, oh, this chick are brainwaves or whatever it is, and it's like, oh, these brainwaves match the lights, the mysterious light storm. And I'm like, guys, I was here like 25 minutes ago.
I know. Little bit tedious because of that.
Yeah, so it's a little bit tedious because I feel like we just instantly, and maybe it's because we're modern viewers. Maybe this is something that you wouldn't have got in the '60s as easily. But I just like I've seen things like this done before,
Yeah,
and it was very clear immediately that this is what was going on. Um, and yeah, the solution to fixing her, so they put her in kind of a bit of danger. It's like, okay, let them connect to you. Next time this is going to happen, let them connect, and then we'll solve it once they're sort of, because then they'll be hooked in, if it were, as it were, and then we can do something, and then they put her in like a pressure chamber to get rid of them.
yeah. I don't understand. I thought it was a mental link. So put her in a pressure chamber, and they're like, oh, quick, put them in there. They'll be trapped in that chamber. I'm like, aren't they still out in the lights? Because it was beings inside the light storm. I don't think it was the light itself, right?
It
Or
was
was it a bit
beings
of
that,
both?
oh, bit of both maybe. Beings inside it, but they said they wanted to live out their days as her because she can handle them. So I was taking that to mean that they transferred then at the end to her.
Maybe. See, the way I was saying it, they were like, oh, we want to just have, we can see through her and we can,
Hmm.
touch, experience through her. It sounded more like, oh, we see through her eyes. We talk, they mentally possess her is what it sounded like to me.
I mean, I can't debate
But
it that much, but I mean,
and then so I was like, okay, we'll put her in pressure chamber and that'll get rid of them.
this is how they won.
I,
Just, you know.
this is the bit where I just don't understand. I don't understand how, even if it's not mental and they are,
hmm
physically inside of her, why does turning the pressure up in the room leave her fine, but these things inside of her not? I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. These are things that, if they are the light itself, as we, you maybe said, they've been floating around in space. But
I feel like
this is, I don't know.
there's tons of things in Star Trek that make is the same amount of sense as this, but they're so abstract that we can't understand. Whereas this, we understand the idea of pressurization. We understand the
Do you know what?
idea of
No,
these
do you know what I
things.
think the key difference is?
What?
Usually they make some attempt, they give me some technobabble as to why it's going to work, and oh, this will do this because of that.
Hmm.
I don't really get that here. They're just like, we'll just do that. I don't
That's.
get it.
I mean, it's fair. Honestly, by this point in the episode, like I'd accepted this for just like a silly sort of fun B movie episode, and I was just kind
No,
of
no, don't get me wrong.
yeah.
I was having fun with it for the most part.
Uh,
Just this one thing really stuck with me, and I can't get over it.
so I was just kind of rolling with it at that point. So some minor tidbits I wanted to mention that was fun. Nurse Chapel doing her Scotty impression was kind of cool.
Mm,
I also enjoyed the fact that all the different species on the Memory Alpha, we'd recognise some of them. It wasn't just like
yeah,
random new things. Like it was because okay, yeah, we've seen all these species, or at least most of them. So that was a nice
still
little touch.
costumes flying around.
I mean, that's maybe the practical reason for it, but that would never be the reason now. Now that would actually be the writers want to actually keep the world feeling
It would,
alive and
yeah,
connected. If that's the reason for it, then whatever. I don't care. But I'm happy.
yeah, it
That's
works, doesn't
yeah.
it?
So that was cool. And then this episode, this is the first one in like a while, I think, or at least if there was one recently, it's been one of out of like 10. We've not had as many banter at the end of the episode scenes where it's like a little joke
Mm.
between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. And we get one here with Scotty included, where Kirk has a little joke to himself that, Spock and McCoy actually agree that she's best staying on active duty because she's new, she's fresh. It's like, hey, what do you think, Spock? It's like, oh, if anything, this might actually form a sterner foundation for her career. She'll be more strong-willed now. Uh, and then they have a bit of a joke. He's like, "Well, you do respect Spock that the love for Scotty and the support he was giving her was a factor in her surviving." And he's like, "Well, I mean, you humans do put a lot of stake in that, so it probably is." It's like, and McCoy's like, "Of course it was love, Spock. You can't deny there was a factor in there. There was love." But he's like, "But you do agree she should get back to duty?" He's like, "Well, yes." So you actually both agree. So he's like, "Let's see if Scotty agrees." And he calls Scotty in there. He's like, "How is she, Scotty?" He's like, "She's beautiful." Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Sure. He's like, "All three of you agree." My, this is a first. All three of you. Um,
Yeah.
it was actually kind of a long for the end banter scene, but it was fun. So I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, yeah. Making up for the last three that we haven't had them.
Yeah, because there's been so many episodes recently where it's just cut. They'll still be on the planet or whatever they were, and it'll just cut to the shot of the Enterprise, and the credit will come up. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're just ending suddenly.
Yeah.
Whereas this
Yeah.
had a nice little tail bit at the end to sort of wrap it up.
Yeah. I have a technical quibble actually, which
Oh yeah.
I suspect is actually on part of the remaster.
Hmm.
It's from the sound. It was specifically I was noticing it in the med bay, where when they weren't talking, there was no room tone. Um, it didn't look like it had all been ADR'd in at the time. So what I suspect is there was some unwanted noise in the background, and they've tried to do a filter to cut it out.
Hmm.
Except when they're not talking, it's actually cutting out the room noise as well.
Maybe. Yeah.
Just it was a little jarring for me. Once I noticed, it was just I found it pretty irritating. It was fine when we were like anywhere else on the bridge, but just in there that room, I wonder if there was just some noisy piece of equipment or whatever that day that they wanted to try and get rid of in the remaster.
I mean, it took 73 episodes before there was a problem with the remaster, so
Yeah, I
that's not
mean,
bad.
you can't complain too much.
Yeah.
It's been a top quality remaster for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, this is episode 73 for the record. I glanced over to see if Wikipedia had that, at easy, use, and there's like, oh,
Just right there.
73 episodes in. Yeah, I actually,
Not too many left either.
not too many left. No, we've got about 6 left, and then we're on to the movies, and then on next gen, which is important because they just announced a Picard TV show is going to happen. So we need to get into the next gen and learn about Picard.
Those bastards couldn't have waited a bit.
But no, that's exciting. Yeah, it's actually going to get to the point where they want like Star Trek in some capacity to be on all year round. So you'll get Discovery for a few months, and then this Picard thing, and then maybe a mini series, and then the Starfleet Academy thing. So it's going to get to a point in the future where we'll be doing one of these a week. When I say one of these, not necessarily the original series, but just an archive. Or working through the old stuff. There'll be one of them plus one new episode of a Star Trek thing together every week. That'll be a thing at some point.
Yeah, expect lots of Trek in the future, basically.
Yeah, so there's lots of Star Trek coming.
No, no, nice for us to have just a regular staple of content with. Okay,
Nice.
we can have Star Trek year round. That's cool.
All year round. No, it's nice. It's good. So many shows are there for like 2 or 3 months and then they disappear into the
Yeah.
into the ether until they come back like a year, sometimes a year and a half later, depending. And if you're the OA, then 2 years at best.
Yeah, I mean,
That
it's
has to hit.
been.
That has to hit by December to be within 2 years.
Yeah, it's been about what 17, 18 months.
Yeah.
No,
Still no announcement. We know they're making
longer.
it. We know they're making it, but they're still not announced the season 2 date yet.
Yeah. It's actually closer to 20 months now. I think about it.
But aye. So yeah, more Trek coming, I guess was what I was saying. Yeah, it was a decent little episode. It was inoffensive and kind of fun.
Yeah, I think more reliable than the last handful, though.
Yeah, but obviously not memorable. Not if you were making a list of the out of the original series, the 30 episodes that you have to watch to get the key
It's
points
not
of
getting
Trek.
on that list.
Yeah, it's not part of that. It's not essential by any means, but it was
Maybe if you're a big Scotty fan.
yeah, there's a lot of Scotty in it. If you like Scotty, I guess.
Yeah.
So hey, but there you go. That is episode 18. That is the likes of Zetar. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below, like, subscribe, all that stuff. That helps us out. Of course, you can help us out even more by going over to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and supporting us over there. $1 gets you these episodes of Trek reviews a week early, a few other things, and then, of course, there's more at the higher tiers. But go and check it out and have a look. But that is us, so thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching Star Trek, guys, and we'll see you next time.